Hello, hi, and welcome. If this is your first video, my name is Caressa, and welcome to another video. It's Friday, I just got back from game night. I'm revved up on human interaction and coffee, so I thought it might be a good idea to react to Jaiden Animation's new video, Being Not Straight. If you didn't know already, I identify as gray romantic asexual. And basically what that means is that I'm on the aromantic spectrum. I'm gray romantic, which means that sometimes I get a crush, but let me tell you, they're few and far between. In being asexual means that I'm just not really sexually attracted to anyone. Obviously, there's a lot of nuance when it comes to identities and how that translates into how you act out in the world romantically, sexually, all that. And I'm definitely open to talking about it if that's something that you guys are interested in hearing about. But I thought we would start by reacting to this video that has the aromantic and asexual communities ablaze. Anyway, let's get straight into it.
15 minutes later.
I weirdly don't have much to say. So let me start with, I think it's awesome that this is a thing that's out there. As someone who is in the AroAce spectrum, there's not a lot of representation out there. It is hard to find people talking about asexuality and aromanticism in a way that actually clicks in your brain. And I appreciate another video being out there that says, hey, this is what's up with me. Maybe it's up with you. I think it's very relatable. I also think that it's very surface level. Let me explain. I think for a lot of people, there are barriers and levels to unpack before you can start identifying as AroAce. Especially if you're somewhere on the spectrum and you're not traditionally completely aromantic or completely asexual. It's taken me years to realize that I am aromantic, and it took me years to realize that I was asexual.
A few minutes later.
Okay, I've taken a minute and I'm ready to get into it. Like I said earlier, I identify as gray romantic asexual. I also have a tendency to form quasi-platonic relationships, which matters when you're talking about platonic relationships and romantic relationships, because quasi-platonic relationships are somewhere in between platonic relationships and romantic relationships. And let me tell you, it took me a hot minute to figure out that I was A, asexual, B, aromantic, and C, formed quasi-platonic relationships that were not romantic, but were not completely platonic either. I relate to some of the stuff that Jaiden said in her videos. One thing I can relate to is having picked out a crush mathematically. My elementary school, middle school crush was basically a decision I made when I was in second grade that this is the person I was going to marry. I've literally never talked about this publicly, but I sort of tried to date them in middle school and I just couldn't do it. That's sort of a running theme in my younger years, because even though I get crushes, there is absolutely nothing I can do to have romantic feelings for you if I don't have romantic feelings for you. That may sound stupid, but I get crushes once in a blue moon. I mean, in my life, I have probably been attracted to less than 10 people. Boy howdy, is it hard for me to kick a crush though. And let's not forget that I also have a tendency to form quasi-platonic relationships, which makes everything a little bit more complicated. Some aromantic people are kind of pro-relationship, but I can't date someone I don't have a crush on. I have tried. It has never worked for me. I am very romance repulsed when I don't have a crush. So even though there are parts of the video I definitely can relate to, and honestly, I think she did a pretty good job explaining things, especially regarding asexuality, and I appreciate her humorous take on that. Here's where I think we differ a little. I think identifying as aromantic and asexual can be such a long journey for some people. And a huge part of that is that people just don't know that they can be aromantic or asexual because they've never heard the terminology, they've never heard someone talk about it, and also they've maybe never heard someone explain it in a way that relates to their own experiences. When you're neurodivergent, you might have a lot of masking behaviors where you overcompensate to appear normal. And even though this is a very different discussion, I think we have to address the fact that there are masking behaviors when it comes to being aromantic or asexual. We do overcompensate in order to appear normal. And especially when it's not as black and white as being purely aromantic, purely asexual. I didn't know that I was asexual until I was in high school and someone said, "Hey, you're asexual." And I was like, "What?" A lot of people say, "Why do you need words for this?" And it's really because you don't feel so alone when you have community. There's a whole spectrum of options, and if you feel a little bit different, there's probably something out there to describe you. But because I have developed crushes, I didn't identify as being on the aromantic spectrum for a long time. And that's saying something. For some reason, just asexual felt comfortable, but aromantic didn't feel comfortable. A huge reason for that is there is normativity, which basically, in a nutshell, means society's desire to put romantic relationships above all else. That's what normativity is, and it fucks with your brain. It's the kind of thing where you can spend years convincing yourself that you are normal because you want a relationship. Even if you don't feel attracted to people, you want a relationship because that's what society has told you wanted. I've really been struggling this video. This video has kind of been in so many parts, and it's gonna be bitch to edit. Basically, what I'm saying is, it's great that this is out there. If you are new to the aromantic, asexual communities, you should watch this. It's a great base level explanation. But just because you don't relate 100% to her video doesn't mean you might not be somewhere on the spectrum. And if you're somewhere on the spectrum, there is so much information out there. There are so many people out there who understand you, who have the same experiences, and you don't have to figure it out all in one go. It's okay for things to change, and it's okay for your identity to change. And also, I know this video was a little chaotic, but if you're interested in hearing me talk about my AroAce experience as a gray romantic asexual person, let me know, because I would love to talk more about it. And that's all. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye.